Once I was asked for a massage with a happy ending, and this is what happened. At that time, I was already a nurse, but I had many jobs. So I would rush out of the hospital or from one of the patients I cared for at home, cross the border from Tijuana to the United States to give massages or facials at home. I carried everything in my car, the massage table. Well, imagine the pace. I was always running. This happened after I advertised my services in a newspaper. Well, imagine, all kinds of people called me. I always made it clear that it was a professional massage. I always dressed as a nurse, but even so, there were people who got things confused. A little bit of context. There were periods in my life when things were worse than usual, and I needed to have more income to support my children, the schools, the rent, etc. And I told a friend who is a very dear friend who has always helped me that things were not going well for me. She worked at a newspaper in San Diego, and she did me the favor of placing the ad for me. So after some time from that ad, my friend, calls me and says, "How's it going? Has the ad worked for you?" And I said to her, "Yes, very well. A lot of people have called me and I've had more massage appointments." But I also told her many things that people would call and say to me, ask me. And among everything, I told her about the situation with a military person who called me from a base in San Diego who wanted a massage. We laughed about everything. I told her what people would call and say to me. And my friend told some of her friends about what was happening to me, and they decided to play a prank on me. And I was driving on the freeway in the United States, and my phone rings, which hands-free or connecting to the car, none of those things existed, and I didn't have that anyway. So, if I saw a number on the screen that I didn't recognize, I thought another client. And I always answered like that on speakerphone. I was driving and talking. I mean, it was heard on speaker from the phone. And the man starts talking to me and asking about the massages, the schedules, the prices, etc. And suddenly he says to me, "Hey, don't you give massages with a happy ending?" And I, with that face, I think hung up the call. I didn't answer anything. I hung up the call and he calls me again. And I was so angry that I answered the call and he says to me, wait, don't hang up on me. I didn't even want to let him speak. I said, "I only give professional massages." And he says, "Oh, so you won't give me a massage with a happy ending? No more. You." He said it again, and I literally replied, "Look, dudes, you want a happy ending? Go to Disneyland." And I hung up. Then my friend calls me, a CHS who didn't know his phone number. She was dying of laughter, telling me that they had me on speakerphone, position mo, so that her friend had played the prank on me, and there were others listening, and everyone was laughing at what I said. And she says, "How did you come up with that?" I and I also said, out there, I don't know how I came up with the Disneyland thing, but well, I was super angry at first. I was also upset with her, but well, since she said they kept laughing and I heard voices in the background, I ended up laughing too. Well, and at that time, I would do anything to support my children. I worked unbelievably hard. Now I think about it and say, I don't know how I endured so many hours working and traveling to all those places. And many times when I arrived to give a massage or a facial, people would say to me, "Alicia, aren't you tired?" Because it was at any hour. I always said, "No, I'm not tired. I love doing it." I always answered that, even if I arrived home dead tired. And all that work and all those efforts brought me many good things, which now I understand as blessings, which I will tell you about. I want to take this opportunity to thank my friend Angelica Mafus in this story, who not only helped me with that ad, but also helped me with many, many things in my life. For about 5 years during that time, she was giving me clothes, and during that time, I dressed only with the clothes she gave me. So thank you very, very much for that and for many other things you continue to help me with. And recently, one of my children told me a phrase that I believe is from Jim Rohn, which says, work harder on yourself than on your job. Isa yung pon po sa diasin. And when telling me this phrase, my son told me that often the work works more on us. And that means that the same work, the same effort, the same things we do to achieve things for work, which is in habits and virtues, will always accompany us for any job, process, or thing we do in our life. And until the next story,